What's up, Purist? It's Bob from Purist Motorsports. We got a special treat for you guys right now. It's part of the PAS collection, and it's called the Beast, nicknamed the Beast. It's an R car. And
what's an R car?
Good question, Mark. It's a race car.
Race car.
Yeah.
Big part of the PAS collection are race cars, and this is one of the premier cars we have in the collection, and we thought we'd share it with you today.
Let's get started. Mark, this car has a unique name because it gave the pit crew some challenges, is what I've been told.
And the drivers too.
So this car was raced in what years? Do you remember?
That's a really, really good question. I'm not sure exactly when it was officially raced. The car was mainly used for World Challenge, and then also used as a practice car for when they went out to run the other races. Okay. A lot of real famous people, Bob Bondurant, Tim Allen, a lot of people drove this car. And what they would use this car for after it was run a little bit in SCCA was a familiarization car. So they take this car out and you could learn the track in this car instead of going out and wadding up your brand new race car, and you'd saved it for qualifying.
Oh, never mind, you would wad up what is on the dash plaque, an SA10 R.
But you have to remember, at the time, this was a used up race car.
Yeah, it makes sense. It did start out life as a different, this has been, well, it's multiple stages, right?
Right, supposedly this car was a Lemon Law buyback, and they took this car and then built it into a race car after they bought it back from the client who for some reason wasn't happy with the car.
Oh.
I'm sure they'd probably want it back today. Yeah, definitely.
I would.
But it does have two identities.
Okay. What do you know anything about the motor, the transmission, like what was done? Because it's got a Vortec on it, obviously.
Right.
Sponsorship.
Well, the motor
there.
was originally built by Duttweiler, and they did the motor. And rumor has it was 500-600 horsepower back in the day.
Wow.
We have not put this on a dyno. It has a speed density type of system to make it run. It's got a standalone system. And when I had the shop, I don't think we ever put this car on the dyno. It's always run great. The motor was freshened up a few years ago. The big thing was we changed the clutch out. It had a 10,000 RPM clutch. That was an on-off switch. So the owner decided to put an original style, just a heavier duty clutch in it to make it easier to get through the pits.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's, if you're not competing, you're more of a, I guess you would call it HBEE day.
It's a fun track day car. Yeah.
Which it still is. I mean, it serves that purpose to this day, to go out and have fun.
Sure.
I would say the first time I saw this one in person was at the 45th anniversary show in Barber.
Making laps after laps after laps after laps.
Yeah, I want to say I do remember the owner having a little bit of an issue with the fuel cell due to age. There was something that.
Yeah, you're right. I did forget about that.
Yeah.
So we've updated the fuel cell in this because the bladder actually started going bad towards the end of his sessions, and started pulling some stuff into the actual fuel system.
Yeah, which everything was caught by filters and all that stuff. But I do remember that, and I got a lot of pictures of it because it sat after that at some point. It was just parked at the end of the day.
But that's race cars for you. When they work great. When they don't work, they sit.
Yeah, that's it. But it's got a lot of unique stuff on it as far as parts. I'm looking at these Speedline wheels. These are resemblance of, okay, I've seen pictures of the Tim Allen car.
Correct. These are the wheels that they would have run on the Tim Allen car, and they used the center hub to do that fan.
And what we're talking about, the Tim Allen car, is the custom built car with a Thunderbird headlight front end.
In 1993.
In 93, it was a white car. Built specifically. I think there are YouTube videos that even Tim Allen may even have uploaded, but these wheels were hidden behind hubcaps.
Yep.
This thing has got old school Willwood
and
brakes.
It stops great, believe it or not. The car turns in, it drives great, it stops real well. The biggest thing with the car is it's got a 9-inch and it has a spool in the back.
Oh.
So when you step on the gas, it's going to go the direction that you're going. So you really have to drive this car. It's not for the timid driver. You have to know how to drive this car or you will end up facing the wrong direction or in an Armco. Yeah.
It's a fun car to learn in, I guess.
Oh, yeah, great car to learn in, kind of like a Honda. Yeah, same thing.
But, you know, it has all your typical safety items for the SC.
Well, the car's got a full cage.
Yeah.
It was gutted when the car was new and turned into a full race car. The cage goes all throughout it. It actually is mini-tubbed in the back, so we can put bigger wheels in. They could put bigger wheels and tires in the back.
And it sits wide. I mean, it sticks.
It's a
out.
handful to drive. That's why they called it
The Beast. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's really cool because of the history of it. You mentioned Bondurant. You know, that's the kind of stuff that people just. It's awesome. Yeah. It brings people to a car. They flock to it with the history. Now, I want to say I remember one of the pit crew guys saying it that the Beast was nicknamed really because of some of the mechanical challenges of keeping it running. Well, I mean, you think of the day, you mentioned 500 or 600 horsepower. If you go into that range back in 93, 94, and laptops were not, like you see people at races now, and they're just tapping away, moving power bands with turbos and stuff. That was not available at that time.
This was Mr. Toad's wild ride. You stepped on the gas and hoped you were pointing in the right direction. And this is when men were men and you had to be able to drive a car like this. It doesn't have ABS. It doesn't have any of the stuff that the current race cars have. So if you made a mistake, it was multiplied by 10.
Yeah.
This car's also got a carbon front on it, so it's super lightweight.
Well, and you're talking carbon front. And it's not just the front bumper cover. We're talking these fenders. You can see the glass in it, the hood. The front bumper cover, those are all lightweight pieces. I need the deck lid.
And the deck lid, I'm sorry, the doors are actually metal. The deck lid's actually carbon.
Yeah.
And Lexan windows in the back. The car really weighs out pretty nicely too.
Can we pop the hood off?
Sure. It's going to take 2 people to do it because it's a lift-off hood.
Do we need where we set? Let's set it in the grass.
Well, it's a race car, so you don't really have to worry about that. The hood will be fine.
Okay.
It's experienced.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
So let's set it right back behind here. We'll just try not to step on it. Makes it easier to work on.
Golly, look at the headers. Those are huge.
Yeah, the headers are all custom made for the car, and it's got the side exit exhaust on it. So if you want to wake the neighbors up in the morning, you just drive right by their house.
No, you just start it.
It's pretty loud. The car also has a unique setup because they did run some night races with the car in night practice, and they integrated some headlights with it because the original nose, there's no headlights in it.
Yeah, it's just really a small piece of carbon fiber that's shaped like the bumper cover.
Yeah, it is.
Obviously custom brackets there. The Saleen intake, the big Dixon, people call it Holy Grail intake. That's a later version, which makes sense for when the car was built. It's got freeze plugs in it. And that's just a healthy little 302. That's a big
It might be a little bit more than a 302.
Is it?
It might be.
It might be. Well,
I don't know.
Let's see here. Aluminum heads. Maybe high ports. I'd have to do a little more investigation. It's the first time I've actually.
It's all top secret, so I really can't tell you.
Yeah, no, it's right. But I'm seeing a really big crank pulley and a itty bitty pulley on the blower, and that means you're going to get
makes a little bit of boost.
Yeah.
So this isn't really the motor that's going to be in your grocery getter, wouldn't you say?
It'd be fun if it was.
It would be. You'd have to get a lot of groceries. The other thing, if you notice too, the cage actually comes through and it's welded to the back of the shock towers for reinforcement.
Oh yeah, it comes all the way through the firewall.
It does.
On both sides, yeah.
And it's got an oil cooler. The fan's electric on it. And it actually runs pretty cool. It will overheat if you sit and let it run for a long time idling, but any race motor will do that. But on the track, we never had any issues with it overheating.
I just used a factory air box to draw it. That's really neat. There's a lot of cool stuff. We'll get you close-ups of this as we're talking about it. I'll have stuff, oil cooler, obviously, yeah, you said that. But it's just, and it looks...
It's really simple, to be honest.
Yeah, that's exactly
really
what I was going to say.
But simple works. And simple typically doesn't break too often.
Yeah, and this one gave them challenge. And I think really, when you think about our cars that in general, and it is Shelby's and other companies, especially you get into prototypes in your Le Mans races and stuff, they're pushing the envelope. This for its day with the boost and the power, it was really pushing the envelope.
Yeah, it was kind of high tech in its day.
A small manufacturer like Saleen.
Well, and the problem is, a lot of times with race cars, is they fix it enough to get back on the track. And it always will come to bite you when you take it to the track the next time, when you've forgotten to fix what you needed to fix last time because you're in a hurry doing other things. You're like, oh my God, we never repaired that.
I've never done that.
No, never, never.
Kidding.
In my former life, we had a race team, and it would happen every once in a while.
Well, you just get moving on to the next thing.
Exactly.
And I think it goes without saying, even with cars or project cars, that's what happens. So, but this is an excellent piece of history.
It is a really, really cool piece of history. What's really neat is the afterlife in this car is really cooler than when it was actually racing, because the way that it was used, for the drivers to familiarize themselves with the track and get out there, and it was a handful for them to drive. And again, what have we talked about before? One of the coolest parts about some of these cars is the history.
Yeah.
It's just as much that as it is the whole car itself.
Yeah, and that's what speaks loudly to a lot of people, and it's definitely what we're speaking loudly of right now.
And this car's very loud.
And that is very true.
We should start it up and let everybody listen to it.
Yeah, we will. We'll get some clips of that. Don't you worry.
But it's still got the stock dashes in it. It's got a rudimentary carpet, I guess, in order to pass some sort of SCCA rule, and a lot of metalwork on the inside.
Is it? I see Reitman Engineering, or no, Reitman Fabrication.
I believe that's who had something to do with the original build on the car. I don't know if a lot of these companies are even still around.
Yeah, well, I mean, Goodyear and Vortec are.
Yep. But neat car, neat piece of history, and I'm just glad to be able to share it with you today.
Thank you very much, guys. And don't forget to like, share, follow. We comment below if you got questions, because a lot of this stuff, we might not have covered everything. You might see something that you want to ask a question about. Feel free, comment,
and more to come. We have several more R cars from Saleen's history to show you in later videos and later episodes.
Yeah, we hope to bring that to you soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tag, and share. Also, go to puristmotorsports.com. We've got a lot of content there, updates on our projects, things you can read. Some of the videos make it there too. Also, check in with Mark, performanceautosport.com. If you have a need for a car, if you have something that you want to try to find, he's capable of being able to get that for you. So thanks to Mark again. We really appreciate you. And as always, whether you're driving them or restoring them,